Okay, Sean here. I really guess you don't need to see me because this is really just an information type of video. This is really just about different types of hash, your distillate, your CO2, your dabs, and your weed. People really don't know what they're smoking with the distillates. They don't know what they're smoking with CO2 and with live resin. I'm going to explain it right now. Medical weed is already 18, 20, 25%. Really don't even need the other shit. You need cannabinoids. Cannabinoids mixed with THC is what you get. If you do 20-1 CBD to THC, you actually take care of disorders. Okay, so when you actually make CO2 oil, you take your weed, put the CO2 oil through that, it comes out, you make your CO2 cartridges, they're organic. It's got cannabinoids, all the stuff that's in weed. You take, if you want this to distill it, you take the CO2 oil, you take 5 grams of it. Now, I can't smoke 5 grams of CO2 oil and cartridges, whatever the fuck it is, or if I ate it and it was activated. I can't do that. Normal people really can't anyway. Even no veteran smokers that can't do that. So whatever, you take 5 grams of dabs or you take 5 grams of CO2 and you make 1 distillate. You distill that and you make 1 distillate. They use usually 2 ounces or more to make a lot more, but that's just to show that. So when they do that, there's the distillate, but what's left over is all of your weed in the other beaker. You need a chemist and a laboratory, and the other beaker is all your weed. All the other shit that you need to actually get high with that THC distillate when they're making that lab shit, when they're distilling it. So they take the cannabinoids, take it away, take your distillation, make all these other cartridges that you do not need, then take the cannabinoids, so there's CBDs, CBN, all the other shit's in there that you need. It's black. So if you make iso, propyl, you make Rick Simpson oil, keef, CO2, you use butane, which is any type of dabs. Live resin is where you freeze your weed after it's grown, and then you take the CO2 oil to it, and it's live resin after you do it, but you have to do it right away. If you do any of those types of things, that's complete weed extraction, organic weed extraction. Now when you still hash, it becomes different, and it becomes a different drug, and that's why it's becoming too much THC. And I've noticed the other day when I actually been smoking, I have to need weed to smoke with that, which is, you really shouldn't need weed to smoke with that, or it feels different. And now if I smoke dabs, I could smoke one or the other. Now if I've actually been addicted to the distillation too, it was hard to kind of get off them. It's a different type of also addiction. If you want to go for that, that's cool, that's your preference, or whatever. Maybe you like a THC high. But if you also have to look at, you're not smoking hash anymore. It's like if you bought just CBD, you're not smoking weed no more. It's not hash anymore. It's mostly just THC. So if it'd just be like if you were buying CBD, a tiny bit of shit in it. When you're just taking CBD, you're not a weed smoker. Think of it like that. Now it's a different drug. And if any other smoker out there knows what I'm talking about with just the THC, would know that there's spice, there's K2, that's just chemical itself too. Now you're getting to an expensive type of spice. Now if you actually went to that has 8, that's 100 times stronger. So a person that actually would like that would probably just like the spice. But I've seen people to go to those and not actually be smoking weed or want to smoke weed or can smoke weed. And literally when I quit it, I had to smoke so much weed to actually get the amount of THC. But I felt better, had to get that to mix together. But I realized that it's good, it's there, there's a little bit of cannabinoid, it gets you high, but it's not like weed, it's not like the weed high. It can relax you a bit, but it also makes your heart kind of go a little faster. It's not good for hypertension. It's not good for heart problems. It's not good for anything like that. Anxiety. It's not good for stress. It's not good for nothing like that. You'd be better off smoking dabs. And if the stuff has, if you can get dabs and they're $30, $40, get that. That could actually make you higher. Why just get that? I mean, you don't need to actually have that much THC to make yourself need to smoke a shit ton of weed when you don't have it. A lot of people don't know the distillation is not CO2 oil, or it is not the stuff to use, not live resin. We used to have live resin and CO2 oil that were in the cartridges before. It's a new thing. So just because it's popular and going around the damn country does not mean that it's the same thing as the CO2 or the live resin. And if you look it up, the live resin and the CO2 are a lot more expensive. And common sense would ask why. Why are they more expensive? And they're lower THC. Because that has more cannabinoids. And you could see where people's money are going. Don't let these stupid companies and other people do this shit and then you don't know what you read. All I had to do was read on my phone, Google it, I looked it up, I read for a few days, and I figured it out. Just do that, you'll be getting high like you used to with the munchies, red eyes, and dry mouth. Like people that don't know that they can get anymore. Now, if you like the THC high, that's on you, you know, and use that, but if you figure it out, you gotta keep smoking it to get the cannabinoids. You have to actually get a good one with cannabinoids in it. If you were just addicted to the THC, you would just be able to smoke the THC. Food for thought.